welcome to Horror Freaks. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
I'm Nick.
I'm Desmond.
Hi.
And we are going to do what we're calling 3 suggestions of horror movies for people who say they don't like horror movies. And what do we mean by that?
So, like, you run into people, they're like, oh, you like horror movies? And they're always like, why do you like horror? Or I don't like horror movies, they scare me. Or I don't like horror movies because they're, like, lowbrow, you know, like stuff like that. There's always criticisms. It's kind of like the stepchild of the film, for, like, film people. But then it's also, some people just get scared of horror movies. I don't know. But
I think that's a good point. Like, I think that there's different reasons why people say they don't like horror. Anytime I hear somebody say, I don't like horror movies, my first thought is, you probably just haven't seen the right ones.
My first thought is like, right to them, you know?
The thing that I have is also the same. It's like people haven't found the right ones because there's so many different. I mean, if you hate them and they're scary, or you hate them because you saw a shitty one and you just like really good, you know, like A-list Hollywood movies, and you don't like B movies. But then,
well, don't say that.
Like Brandon said, I think that you could find a horror movie for everybody. So that's what we're doing here today.
Mine's like a kind of a B movie, though.
I don't think so.
I would say that this is impossible to make for just the mass majority. That's what we attempted kind of to do here. It would be easier to make a suggestion to somebody that we know, or somebody that we can talk to or ask questions to. Mm-hmm. So I try to do mine in the way where I kind of catered to those highbrow cinephile fans that are like, horror, I don't consider horror a film. And that's what I'm doing, like, let me prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't cater to somebody that's like, I don't like horror movies because they're too scary.
And I'm doing that. Like, I feel
you're
like
covering that.
I'm covering that end. Like, I feel like I run into people more often where they're like, oh, I don't like horror movies because they're scary, or that they're gory and they're gross. And then
I'm the baby bear.
What was your approach to this?
I just kind of took both of those in account. You know,
okay.
I was like,
a very good, entertaining movie. So
yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Should we just, without further ado?
Yeah, let's hear it. Desmond's going to go first.
All right, here's my choice. It's Reanimator by Stuart Gordon. It stars Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, and it's an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. That's Herbert West's Reanimator. I picked this one because I think it is just like a classic horror tale. It's like a zombie story. It's like kind of a modern, like, necromancer, modern, like, kind of zombie story. I picked this because I think it is like, I think you can take this movie with like 2 approaches. It can be a really fun and like kind of silly, like fun time with like cool effects, and it's like well written, well acted, but it's kind of fun, you know? But then I also think you can also watch it and it can be a really like serious, like spooky, and like kind of like you can watch it like in a silly way or in a serious way. Like, depending, like if you watch it with a group of people, I think you can have like a fun, silly time. But if you're watching it by yourself, you can kind of get like more like, you can get like more into the movie and like take it more as a serious tale.
Wes, stop!
I'll show you. Then you'll help me.
No!
Yes, you will.
And I just think it has like everything that I think that makes horror movies great, is like fun, special effects. It's just like, it's so cool. And it's like a classic, you know, 80s, you know, can't go wrong with it. And it is like, I think a little like lower budget, but I think it like rides the line of like being fun, but also just a quality movie.
Yeah, I think this is a good example of like a great like B horror movie or lower budget horror movie.
Yeah, and I feel like they take the budget and they're utilizing the budget to the T. And for me, because I'm a big fan of horror movies, I think if you show this to somebody, this is one of my favorite movies like of all time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's in the list of favorite movies, but for somebody that doesn't really necessarily like horror, they could watch this movie and have a lot of fun. Like Desmond's saying, like you could have a party, you could have it on, and people would just be like, "What the hell's going on?"
Because it's
What's
it's
that
like
head
wild
doing there? You know what I
it's
mean?
Like crazy.
It is wild, yeah.
It's
And
just like, and you can never, you can never guess what's gonna come next.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
and I love revisiting this movie. I love the green, like, glow in the dark syringes. Like, it's just iconic, and
It's
it's
very
cool.
it has a very unique style, and like it has a like it's very like it just like that color, like the green.
Uh-huh.
It's like
on your
iconic.
freaking t-shirt.
It's on my freaking t-shirt. I wonder why.
I think that horror movies in general are good at taking low budget and making the perfect use out of them,
Yeah.
and not solving problems with money but creativity. And this is like a perfect example of
And
that.
a little side thing, the director Stuart Gordon, you said it was directed by Stuart Gordon. He was a theater director. He went to school for theater, and he had a very dramatic, drama based approach to this. So the acting's kind of over the top for most people, but I think it's all really sincere. And it's over the top because it's more like a theater thing.
Oh, yeah.
But then
Yeah.
this was his debut. So he started with this, and it was like lightning in a bottle. Like, he captured this, and he went on to do a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is his, like,
Well, it was like a foundation too, because like him and like Brian Usna went on to like produce and direct more H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Brian Usna was the producer of this, and
Yeah.
he
went on and did the sequels, and he did movies that kind of feel like they're in the same vein, like with Society and stuff.
So I'm like kind of wondering, like, if Brian Usna had a big part in, the feel and the vibe of that Reanimator, because it's got cool.
Well, and he even did
for
that.
some people though, it's like a little erotic and smutty. Like, there's
There's
nudity
a couple scenes,
and there's
Yeah.
some, like, so that would be a triggering thing. So if you are sensitive to more erotic type stuff, then it's not good for you. But yeah, I think that's a great choice.
Yeah.
It's a good party movie. It's a good movie.
I was gonna go with what my first horror movie was, but it's Army of Darkness, and like you have to
That's
watch
a
two.
good-
You got to watch two other movies first, unless you're me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Stuart Gordon came from theater, but he looks like he came from theater.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that's the thing is like it is like kind of like you could say a little over the top, like theatrical or like theater acting, but I think that's what makes it good, because you can like get, I think like, because the first time I watched this movie, I didn't really think it was fun. Like, people were like, later on, people were like, oh, that movie's like so funny, and I was like,
You saw the more
no,
dramatic
it's not.
aspects of it.
It's not funny. But now I can see, I'm like, oh, it is silly and funny. It's but it's all, I just think it like rides that line really well. Like, and I think, it's like perfect for like party setting, or I like watching movies by myself a lot. So I also,
You
would
get a
recommend
different
that.
vibe from this one, either
Yeah.
way you watch it. But should we move on?
So mine is 2016 Autopsy of Jane Doe.
The autopsy of an unidentified female, henceforth known as Jane Doe.
This is starring, it's directed by Andre, is it Overdial? I can't pronounce his name, but he did Troll Hunter and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and The Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's starring Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch, and it takes place in, I guess, a mortuary. But the Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch are father and son, and they are coroners, right? And the reason why I picked this movie is because if you take out the horror elements of it, it could just be a straight drama film. There's a relationship between the father and son. There's a relationship between the son and his girlfriend. And there's also this kind of like thing where he doesn't want to be this coroner, but he's kind of good at it. His dad's really good at it. And his dad, they kind of do it together. And it's almost this bonding thing, which is kind of interesting because it's like gross and grotesque. And they're doing these autopsies and figuring out how these people died. And they're bonding over it, which is like really cool aspect to it. And it's filmed really like professionally. I mean,
Really well
for
done.
lack of a better word, the cinematography is really good and the acting's really good, and it just feels like a film. But with the horror elements in it, it's actually terrifying, because what happens is there's this murder scene, and this Jane Doe comes in and late night, and they start doing this autopsy on her, and it's this kind of puzzly thing that starts unraveling before your eyes, and it gets scarier and scarier. And at one point they get trapped from a storm inside this building with this corpse that is some very spooky things happening. I'm trying not to do any spoilers here. However, like, it just feels like it could be kind of a day in life of a coroner, and then with horror interjected in it. And at one point, you almost feel this like POV kind of style to it, where you're in there with them. And it's a good example of, like, if people say that like horror movies aren't scary to them anymore, I think that this might actually scare you. But I also think that you'll see the beauty of the filmmaking in this.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's oh, I did have a fun fact about it. The female, she's a model. Her name is Olwyn Catherine Kelly. She spent up to 8 hours lying naked on an autopsy table for 5 weeks. So it was a role made possible by her yoga honed abilities to control her breathing and body. So they could have gotten a fake body to do this.
What she did, she stood in for the whole thing, huh?
The whole thing. It's
crazy.
And the director wanted a real human feel to the body. So I think he kind of just figured, if I put a real person in there, the audiences will kind of feel that. And I do think that comes through, because there's some close-ups on her face that like feels like eerily real.
Yeah. And it's probably good for the actors too. They just really all got, there's only really 3 actors in this movie.
Yeah. Well, there's 4, the girlfriend, but she's hardly
So
in
you
it.
picked this one because you wanted to show like that there's an art quality, a filmmaking
Yes.
quality to horror films that if you did remove the stuff like you said. But the other thing about this movie is it scared me. Like, I remember watching it and it scared me.
Yeah.
But the director, he did Troll Hunter. I didn't know that he did that. He's a Danish, I think. Swedish maybe, but Troll Hunter, yeah, he's like Nordic. But Troll Hunter is a really cool movie that like he's taken. I think that was his first movie, right?
I think so.
Anyway,
He's big.
he's a great
Yeah.
filmmaker. Just with Troll Hunter and this movie, but this movie is really well done. I think it might terrify some people who are on the side like, I don't like horror movies because it's scary.
Yeah, I
this
didn't
might terrify them.
I didn't pick it for them.
But if people are like, oh, they're stupid, they're cheesy, horror movies are stupid and cheesy. This one
Yes.
is one where it's like,
Or like they can't
this is
take
acting.
serious, or they think of like teenage slashers, that sort of thing. This to me is an actual film where you can watch and appreciate the creativity of the filmmaking, and then go, oh, and it's also scary.
And you can get really into the character by like, he doesn't want to do this job, but he's kind of being like thrown into it.
He's also kind of good at it too.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
he's like, he at least has interests enough in it.
Yeah.
To where you might think that he's kind of on the fence, and there's that kind of drama to it where he's like kind of teetering because his girlfriend is pushing him in a different direction and his father's pushing him in one direction. And that's why I say, if you take out the horror elements, there's still a compelling
There's a good
story
dynamic of drama and stuff. Yeah, I haven't watched this in a while. I love Brian Cox. Brian Cox, first Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
Yeah.
He's always...
And then later in Trick or Treat.
Yeah, he's great in that. I remember seeing him as a kid, and I'd be like, I don't really like that guy. He was in the X-Men movie. But, like, it's one of those actors that as I saw his whole acting, like...
He's really versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he could play villains just phenomenal. He's in a show called Succession. I don't know if you've ever seen
Is that a newer show?
It's a newer show where he's like super rich guy of this corporate company, and it's all about kind of like the 1%ers.
Yeah.
And you don't like him in this
Yeah.
at all. But then in this movie,
You love him.
You love him.
He played a father in The 25th Hour with Edward Norton. Did you see that one?
oh, where he's got like 25 hours before he goes to
Yeah.
prison. Yeah.
He plays his dad, and he's like kind of
Oh,
driving
yeah.
him to jail, and there's anyway, that's a side note, but he's a very versatile, very cool actor that's got some things. Desmond, you got this as a present.
And I haven't watched it
Okay.
yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen
I
it.
Oh,
thought it would
interesting.
be-
I thought you were
I-
a little bit quiet.
I bought it for him, and it's kind of a good father-son movie.
Yeah,
so,
no, that is.
so
that's
yeah,
true.
Hopefully,
This could have
maybe
been
we'll watch it
also
together.
could have been a Father's Day pick as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
these-
the autopsy of Jane Doe.
Well, I picked one it's got a little bit of blood in it, but it's done
A little
so,
bit.
It's done so well and like so funny that I think that people who are squeamish don't like horror because it's scary. This is all done in a very comedic way. It's called What We Do in the Shadows, the feature film from 2014. There is a TV show that we'll talk about
Where's
later.
your Blu-ray of it?
Oh, hey. So this is the guy right here, the guys. What We Do in the Shadows is a horror comedy, and it's in New Zealand. It's about so a film crew is filming a house of vampires that all live together.
It's a documentary style.
Like a
movie.
mockumentary,
it's
right? Mockumentary.
So it's a mockumentary about these 4 vampires that live together, and they have a film crew filming them, kind of like in the vein of the Real World, MTV's Real World, or The Office. Jermaine Clemens, who you'd recognize, he's in a ton of different things. Flight of the Conchords, he was in that, and he's kind of a sexy Bram Stoker's kind of Dracula, Gary Oldman type guy. And then Taika Waititi, the director and co-writer, he's kind of the nice, like really kind and nice vampire. He doesn't want to he kills people, but he like wants them to have a really good time before he kills them. So the film crew shows him like setting up like nice time, and then it just gets kind of bloody. That's the first time it gets really bloody and gory. And then there's a younger vampire who's young at 184 years old, and he's kind of like the edgy punk rock one. He's a deacon, and these characters all add kind of dynamics of how they're just kind of all living together and the different personalities. But then they have Peter, who lives in the basement, and he's like straight up Nosferatu, like vampire, bald with the like pointy ears, and like he looks terrifying, and he lives in the basement, and they all hang out and take care of each other. But
I feel like Peter, like I feel like they're really inspired by Salem's Lot, like by Barlow.
oh yeah, for sure, and even where he lives.
Yeah,
is
well,
totally-
he kind of he has like kind of the same. I feel like the eyes are very similar.
yeah,
And he's actually the only vampire to me that's actually scary.
Yeah,
But there's still a comedic aspect to him. But
he is terrifying, but he's like actually like the coolest too. Later on, you find out that like he's actually down to like people who want to be vampires. He like actually turns.
oh
them.
yeah, that's
Like
right.
he's actually
Yeah.
helps people out,
But each one of them are
is
almost
scary.
representing a trope of a vampire you've seen
Yeah.
in a movie
Yeah.
before, which is pretty neat.
And so there's it shows their day-to-day life like a documentary. It's a pretty short movie. I recommend it to people who don't like horror movies. And I mean, everybody really knows like vampire lore, so it's a good one for that. They made a TV show a couple years after they made this, and there's 6 seasons of the TV show. And at first I was like, oh man, they're like remaking it as a TV show. But I started watching the show, and two of these characters are in the show as like a vampire council. So it's a sequel. So if you do watch this and you do like it, there's 6 seasons of really fun like I almost think I like the show a little bit better because it goes like a little more like there's more characters, like there's werewolves in this, zombies, and they kind of go through with that. And
There's
they're
different-
they're in America in the show, but they're in New Zealand in this. I think I
and
said
there's that like scene where there's like the undead ball that's like in this movie that has like a bunch of like
It's it's like a mixer where
well, it
it's,
has zombies and has zombies and vampires.
yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Mhm.
And it has different kind of vampires, like the what's the one that like sucks the energy vampire?
That's in the show.
Is
That's not in the
that's what I'm
movie.
saying.
Yeah,
in the show,
yeah,
they have like
yeah.
different types of vampires, which is pretty funny. I haven't watched all of the show, but my wife is a big fan of both, and she likes the show better too.
Yeah.
So I think it just gets more into it, yeah.
This is like so short. It's almost like a little sample of like the world and the lore, like their idea of like having a fake documentary, a mockumentary of this vampire world. It's really good. I recommend it.
Yeah, I'm glad that we all kind of covered like, hey, if you think that B horror movies or like low budget horror movies are bad, like check out Reanimator. If you think that horror movies aren't highbrow enough for you, check out Jane Doe. And this, if you feel too scared of horror movies, like this is a good one.
Yeah,
like we all
you'll
kind of
laugh.
covered the 3, I think, main reasons why somebody might stay away from horror. So triple feature this when you get home tonight. When you get home,
Yeah,
Or
it'd be
you're
a
not home
crazy
now?
triple
Do it
feature.
right now. Turn this video off because I think we're about done wrapping it up.
Yeah.
And throw
Awesome.
those movies
Thanks
on.
for watching. And
If you like this, we're a podcast originally. It's Horror Freaks. You can find it on Apple Music or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. So check it out. Otherwise, there'll be more.
See you soon.
Bye.